Right now on Face the State, the race for governor is heating up as the attack ads turn brutal. Ned Lamont versus Bob Stefanowski. And now the debates have begun. Today, campaign surrogates will debate new London Mayor Michael Passero for Lamont and State Representative Vincent Candelora for Stefanowski. Also, his brother was killed in the Sandy Hook school massacre. Now he's an advocate. We'll talk with J.T. Lewis. Plus, new laws designed to protect women. We'll talk with Mary Jane Foster about the battle to help the battered and endangered. And remembering Ben Duvall. All straight ahead this Sunday morning, September 16th, 2018.
From Eyewitness News, Connecticut's most watched local political program, this is Face the State.
Good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining us for Face the State. I'm Dennis House. The knives have been sharpened in the race for governor. We're all seeing those sinister-looking black and white photographs of the candidates trying to dissuade you from voting for that person. With us today, representing the Lamont campaign, is the mayor of New London. He's Michael Passero. And representing the Stefanowski campaign today is Vincent Candelora. He is a state representative, and we thank you, gentlemen, for being here today. And first of all, I'll begin with you, Representative Candelora. How do you think so far the campaign has been going for Stefanowski, and in terms of the most recent debate?
Yeah, I thought he did a great job. He stayed on message. He was on point to his issues. I think he talked about the things that people care about in this state, and I thought he was very compelling last night.
You disagree? You think Mr. Lamont won?
I absolutely do, because he was in friendly territory in the city of New London. We definitely, in my community, support the values that Ned stands up for. And hearing Mr. Stefanowski echo the values of Donald Trump down in Washington certainly don't go over well in a city like New London.
What do you gentlemen think of these attack ads we're already seeing? And you know, the black and white ones, they get the scowling face and the big red letters, he's lying, or he's going to tax you, and this back and forth. Is that the tone that we should be setting right now?
Well, I think you have to show a contrast, which I think Bob has done very well. I think the attack ads, he's just using the words that are coming right out of Ned Lamont's mouth, which is he's going to raise taxes, he's going to implement tolls if elected. In contrast, Bob recognizes that the state cannot endure any more tax increases, including tolls. So I think that type of a contrast piece is certainly fair.
You live in a border town, essentially. New London's not far from the Rhode Island line. Do you support tolls that Mr. Lamont says we may have to have?
I do, at least in the limited form that Ned is talking about for the trucks. I don't think that it's helping our state, our ability to rebuild our transportation infrastructure to allow the trucks to use our roads and put the burden of that cost directly on the taxpayers of the state of Connecticut.
What about the trucks that come through Connecticut? It's a good point. A lot of people wonder why they come through. They rip up our roads. The construction, who pays for that?
Well, we currently charge them for the use of our roads. They pay millions of dollars in fees. And I think, that's sort of a pivot. What Lamont is recognizing is his positions are very unpopular. He's wanted tolls. We can't really differentiate between a truck or a car. Tolls are tolls. And so you're seeing the campaign trying to pivot away from these policy that have been rejected in Hartford and rejected for the last 8 years under Malloy rule. And I think Bob has taken the correct position in the beginning, and that is we cannot continue to tax, we can't continue tolls. And so what we're seeing here is Ned Lamont is just trying to pivot away from these bad policies.
Bob Stefanowski is saying that he will eliminate the income tax. What's your reaction to that, Mayor Passero?
It would be devastating.
How so?
It would be devastating on cities like New London. It would be devastating on all the cities in the state of Connecticut, especially the cities. I think it would be devastating on all 169 of our municipalities, but especially the cities. We're looking at just blowing a hole in the state's revenue. If you get rid of the income tax, the corporate income tax, you're looking at well over 50% of the state's current revenue being eliminated. And what we're looking at is just a shift in the cost of government from the state to the local level, and our cities are already suffering.
But people are moving out of Connecticut saying it's too expensive. Is there a place where taxes can be reduced?
First, I think that's mostly rhetoric. I don't know that
you don't think people are moving out?
I don't think the facts prove that at all. I do know that there's a great urban migration that's going on. Connecticut and New London are losing out because of the property tax structure. It's one of those structural issues that I believe Ned Lamont can help the state begin to change.
Mr. Stefanowski, if he's elected governor, is going to need your help. He's going to need the Republicans' help to eliminate the income tax. Do you support that, just wiping it out?
Well, I support the philosophies behind it, absolutely, because what we've seen is, Governor Malloy hoisted the 2 largest tax increases on Connecticut in the first 6 years of his term. When Republicans got in the room and crafted a biennium budget, he recognized we're going to try something different. We actually reduced the sales tax on boats, which certainly helped the marinas in New London. And we saw the revenue from that actually go up. We reduced the tax on trusts and estates. We saw the revenue to the state go up $30 million. So reducing taxes doesn't translate to a loss of revenue. You could actually generate more revenue by increasing jobs and bringing wages in that pay more taxes. And that's what Bob is talking about when he says, we need to look at the triggers. This isn't a draconian cut of the tax, but let's find that sweet spot. Let's lower it, encourage businesses to come back here, and maximize the amount of revenue we can get.
If he's governor, with your help, with the legislature's help, how low will the income tax rate be in 4 years at the end of his first term?
Well, and
do
that's something that's hard to judge. I think realistically...
But his promise is that it will be reduced dramatically?
Absolutely. I think realistically, you could look at a 1% drop. Conversely, we saw almost a 1% increase in the income tax back in 2010, and we've lost billions of dollars of income. In one biennium, $600 million of income tax revenue left the state of Connecticut because wealthy people just relocated their residency. So if we lower those taxes back down, we could find some of this revenue being returned, and that's when we could sort of tinker the tax code to make it more equitable for everybody and make Connecticut competitive again.
Let's talk a little bit about marijuana, should that come up. And many Democrats have said, let's legalize it, let's tax it, let's create a system to regulate it. What do you think about that?
Well, I think, Ned certainly supports that. And there would be revenue, a good deal of revenue generated from the state. Personally, I have some reservations about the message that sends. But our current system of criminalizing the use of marijuana, I don't believe is healthy. So I think we have to look at some changes there, especially when the states around us have already moved in that direction.
I know we had you on this program before to talk about this very
Right.
issue. Has Bob Stefanowski's campaign changed your mind at all?
No, I think his answer was dead on. I think we need to address the issues before we even consider legalizing it. For instance, he pointed to needing to find a test for driving under the influence. That doesn't exist right now. I also liked his answer that we need to look at the impacts of Colorado. What I found disappointing in Ned Lamont's response is we've already decriminalized marijuana. People don't get arrested for having a joint. It's a quarter of an ounce or less, people don't get arrested. So to suggest that the cities are being picked on and people are being arrested is absurd. It does not happen in Connecticut. So I was happy to see that Bob focused on the real issues of whether or not to legalize marijuana, and those are the right questions that need to be answered before you do it.
In our closing moments, I'll give you a 20-second pitch as to why people should vote for Ned Lamont.
Me first,
Yes.
I would say the most important thing we need in this state right now is to strengthen our cities. I think one of the problems that's hurting the economy in Connecticut is a lack of support for our cities. The difference in the mill rate between the cities, you're looking at 72 in Hartford, you're looking at in the 20s in the suburban. In New London, we're at 43. In the towns that surround us, it's in the 20s. That's the disparity we have to solve. I believe Ned Lamont is devoted to and focused on solving that systemic structural issue we have in the state of Connecticut.
And Representative Candelora, why Bob Stefanowski?
Bob has recognized and has seen the dramatic, devastating impact of these taxes, the policies that Governor Malloy has put in place that Lamont wants to just continue. And I also think the biennium budget we just passed the Republicans addressed a lot of the city's needs by looking to increase education dollars. And these are policies that Bob could help continue. He recognizes that reducing taxes could actually increase revenue for the state of Connecticut. And the middle class can't afford to pay all these bills any longer. We need to invest in the middle class, not invest in government.
Vincent Candelora and Michael Passero, we are out of time, but we'll have you on again. How's that sound?
Thank you.
Gentlemen, thank you so much. When we come back, we'll meet a loved one who lost someone in Sandy Hook. He lost his loved one in Sandy Hook, and now he is an activist with the help of President Trump. We also welcome you to watch past editions of Face the State. They are on our website right now, WFSB.com, the WFSB app, and also on YouTube.